So, Conor McGregor didn't actually retire, and anybody who didn't see that coming is a little bit naive because, he just tried to do a power play on a multi-billion-dollar company, and it just didn't work out. He's one guy against a gigantic machine that is worth, hundreds of billions, I guess, at this point. They make a lot. So, it's pretty strange. But, Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz, their pay-per-view buys was at 1.5 million. Okay, so that's a lot of cheese. Conor McGregor wanted 10 million to fight Nate this time around. Which, honestly, if we look at it, there's going to be more pay-per-view buys because it's UFC 200. It's going to be their second fight with Nate having a full camp, with Conor not being a dumbass and trying to go for a knockout. And we're going to see a legitimate battle between mixed martial artists. So, that's another thing. It's UFC 200, UFC 200, UFC 200. So there's a big deal. There's quite a few fights that are going to be on the card. Everybody's buying the card to see Conor and Nate fight. So Conor was like, "Hey man, pay me 10 million to fight." And the UFC was like, "Nah." And he was like, "I'm gonna fucking leave if you don't, and I won't come to your press conference." And then they're like, "Okay, fucking try me." And he just, thanks for, I'm gonna retire young. Thanks for the cheese. See yas later. Fucking John Kavanaugh played along with it and was like, "Well, it was nice while it lasted." So, they tried to punk a multi-billion-dollar company, and the UFC was like, "Man, come back whenever you want. We're gonna be here for you, dog. You can come back whenever you want." The UFC didn't take the fucking bait. Conor made himself look stupid. So he threatened. So now he's going to be known as the guy who threatens to get what he wants, and when he doesn't get it, he ruins an entire pay-per-view. Which, honestly, there's been a lot of fighters in the past few months that have done that, and I didn't expect it out of him. I would have just expected him to show up with, like, a bunch of lawyers and be like, "Give us that fucking money," or something, more interesting than him just saying, "Well, I'm retiring," and freaking everybody out for no reason. And honestly, anybody who bought into the fact that they thought he was really gonna retire are just dumb, dog. You're just silly. You're a silly guy. Nick, why do I keep saying Nick? Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor sold out 1.5 million pay-per-view buys for their fight. Was that at 196? Yeah, I think so. I can't even remember anymore. So many pay-per-views are being moved up and down and left and right. It's fucking bananas. We're on to we're on to 97 just now. We should have been at 97 like months ago. Like, it's fucking crazy. But nah, I'm just fucking with you. But $60 is how much the pay-per-views cost in HD. Others cost about $49, so just, $10 less. If we say that for each pay-per-view buy, if someone bought it in HD, which, why wouldn't you buy it in HD? I was yawning just then, so sorry about that. But 60 times 1.5 million ends up being $90 million. And Conor wants 10 of that. So that's not much. I mean, if he would have asked for like 25, I would have been like, "You're out of your mind." Or if he asked for 15, I'd be like, you're kind of cutting it a little bit close. I mean, the highest you're going to get is 10. Which I would have gladly given him 10 out of that 90. Because that 80 million, how much they got paid for the last pay-per-view is questionable. They probably got paid 5 each, so that's 10 right there. But he wanted to be paid 10 right there. I don't know how much Nate was paid, but he was at least in the, in the million area. Conor probably got paid more than him to lose, to be honest, but, Conor tried to play a power move on a multi-billion-dollar company, and he just lost, man. That's just how that shit, works. You're not gonna get a multi-billion-dollar company to just bend over, and I'm sure he knows that now, and I'm sure he won't make the same mistake again. But he's back for the UFC 200, and he'll go to the press release and all that great shit. So we're gonna hear a bunch of questions about, hey man, why'd you try to retire? And he's probably gonna be like, man, I just wanted that fucking money and they didn't give it to me, so fuck it. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a weird situation for all of the parties that are involved in this deal, but it's whatever. People will get over it. But yeah, a lot of people are gonna be upset. So it's gonna be pretty weird. We're gonna have to watch that shit very closely. I know that I'll be watching the press release, and their press conferences and all that shit. So I'll let you guys know what I think about all that shit. So see you guys later. UFC 200 was not ruined. Thank fucking God, dude.